EU climate ministers gathering in a final push to agree on new emissions targets. As the COP30 summit in Brazil gets underway later this week, ministers are under pressure to finalise an emissions target for 2040 to put them on track to meet their zero net emissions target in 2050. But divisions amongst member states remain. The bloc has some of the most ambitious CO2 cutting policies and is scrambling to contain backlash from industries and national governments that are sceptical on whether they can afford these measures. Covering the story for CNA, Will Denselow joins us live from Brussels. Will, we need 15 out of 27 members of the EU to agree for this agreement to be reached on an interim emissions target. What's standing in the way of an agreement?
That's absolutely right. This has been the subject of huge internal wranglings amongst the 27 member states here in Brussels, across the European Union. We're seeing a huge amount of divergence across member states. The likes of Italy, Poland, the Czech Republic, they are among the nations that want to see more carve-outs when it comes to big business, wanting to make sure that competitiveness and economies are absolutely front and centre and not left behind with any kind of climate targets. Essentially, the message from those member states is they believe that any new proposals must include protections for both. We've heard in a little earlier from Poland's environmental minister saying that they want to see carve-outs for things like the defence sector to essentially be exempt. They say that this needs to be a deal that's good both for the environment and for Europe's economy going forward. On the other hand, we've heard from the likes of Spain, the Netherlands, Sweden, who want to make sure that this is a bold, ambitious climate plan. Spain's representative speaking earlier here in Brussels, saying that this must show to the world that Europe is serious. Of course, the EU has already missed its deadline to present a 2035 plan that was supposed to be unveiled in New York in September for UNGA. But they're hoping to come to COP30 a little later this week with a plan to show how it can cut emissions by 90% by 1990 levels by the year 2040.
Well, the deal itself might have carve-outs, but member states also need to make some kind of compromises. Which ones at this point seem palatable to EU member states?
That's absolutely right. Mentioning this divergence, the question that will be on the lips of everyone here at this environmental ministers meeting that is still very much underway is whether some kind of compromise can be met. That is really the word of the day, trying to bring those two camps together to find something that is deemed to be both ambitious enough and doing enough to protect big business, industry, the economy here in Europe. So in terms of possible levers that the Council can pull, that member states can pull to try and reach this degree of compromise, well, several issues are being raised, such as having price controls for the carbon market, seeing a potential weakening of a plan to ban combustion engines by the year 2035. Also, proposals to increase the amount of foreign carbon credits that member states can buy as well. Also, a proposal brought forward by France where they had suggested their clause that could mean that this 2040 regulation could be weakened should EU forests failed to hit their targets when it came to absorption of CO2. So those are a few of the measures being thrown around as potential compromises. Will there be enough to get a deal done? That certainly remains to be seen.
Oh, thanks. Will Denselow there covering the story for CNA live from Brussels.